YouTube, how's everybody doing? It's your boy Davey here, and let's talk about PlayStation for a bit. When I think of PlayStation, and I tell you, what does Uncharted 1, or that's a bad actually example, Uncharted 2, Uncharted 3, Killzone, what do they remind you of? Starhawk, SOCOM. What do these games remind you of? Or The Last of Us even? Well, let me tell you. Single player games and multiplayer games. All in one. PlayStation had the formula of how to make a good game. And as far as I'm aware, they have released something there recently, today, that they want to reevaluate or revitalize how the live service push they have is. And as we're aware, it hasn't been the best. It has not been the best. Concord, Marathon. Bear in mind, I love Marathon. And don't even get me started with the massive layoffs to Bungie. And bear in mind, Bungie they've had for over 2 years, and the studio has been cut down to probably 80% now. They used to have over 1,000 employees. They're down to 400 now. So it's rough. It is rough. But however, they're going for this live service push. And they don't need to. They really don't. They had the formula. And they kind of have it a little bit when it comes to the Legend series with Ghost of Tsushima. And even that with Ghost of Yote, it's just coming out last year, and the DLC of the multiplayer releasing, I have not seen a lot of people talk about it, not one bit, and it's concerning. So how do PlayStation fix it? Well, let's get into that. First things first, make the single player game. Doesn't need to be massive, like over the scale. Just let Naughty Dog do that if you want. Then add the multiplayer. Then add like a small bit of progression system. Add a little bit of microtransactions. Like to this very day, you can play The Last of Us 1 factions on the PS4 version, and people still play it quite frequently. I know a few people that do play it constantly. If I was to boot it up right now, I could find a game very quickly. These are all things that they have. Like, they're focusing too much on single player content. And as we're aware, they had Bluepoint trying to make a God of War live service. We also know that Sony or Bend Studios were trying to make a Siphon Filter multiplayer game, and that also got canned. Like, you can have these worlds, yes, you can have a multiplayer part of this aspect of it, but you need to make the single player game first. You had the formula, Starhawk, SOCOM, Uncharted. These are all things I've talked about already. These are all successful games, and if people want to play the multiplayer and live in those established worlds that you already have, let them. Just let them do that. You can't keep going on and on and on with these failures. Like, how many, like, we lost Bluepoint. The reason why Bluepoint should have been there was to remake games, not to make a live service game, to remake your old games. You have a plethora of untouched IP that they could have been at. Bend could have made Days Gone too. But here we are in this world where gaming is not sustainable. We just seen Xbox just skyrocket their prices again for the third time. Sony probably about to do the same, if I'm being honest. Check out in October. I could probably tell you it might happen. But PlayStation had the formula. They can still have that formula. They can have the winning formula. But they need to focus on one simple thing. Single player games with multiplayer. Not multiplayer games that you hope might be a big success. Helldivers is an anomaly. You're trying to find that again, it mightn't happen. Marathon is probably the perfect example right now. You've closed down Bungie's biggest part with Destiny. I mean, bear in mind, it's still playable. I still play it to this day. Do the Pantheons. I love Destiny. It's part of my life. I've been a Bungie fan since Xbox original. Here we are. What are they doing right now in Marathon? They're making a PvE system for the next season. Do you want to know why? Because it is better to have the game as a single player entity than it is to have this multiplayer aspect. Yes, it's an extraction shooter, but I can guarantee you now, if Bungie do not close down in the next 2 years, Marathon will not be the game that you think it will be. Marathon will become a PvE game that will have an extraction shooter element to it. It will mainly become what was it, Arc Raiders? What that is. So there is a lot, like, Marathon has amazing lore and there's so many questions that you can do right now within the game. Like, there's so many questions that I have. Like, they're planning about revamping Perimeter. Does that mean that there's something under Perimeter that we don't know about? It is the first map you go to in the game. And, like, we also know that they plan on other things, but they're trying to push this game to a single player aspect that has multiplayer features, which is something that they've had before. They've had this before. We don't know if the new Naughty Dog game, Intergalactic, is going to have multiplayer. I don't think it's the type of game that might have it. But when that game does come out, it shouldn't take a whole generation to get the next Naughty Dog game. I have played numerous versions of The Last of Us Part 2 and Part 1 since they're like it absolutely boggles my mind. Let's go through a few things. You have God of War, that's being remade. We also see God of War Love Phase coming out. It doesn't need a multiplayer. Leave that the way it is. You own Killzone. Have people work on Killzone. Make a single player game. Have the multiplayer added attached to it. People will play it. It's been gone long enough. SOCOM. Same thing. You can make the first person shooter again. Have a single player with a multiplayer. You have had the formula the entire time and you're pushing for something that you do not need. Make the single player game, have that world established. People will stay in that world if they love that world. Play the multiplayer, add a bit of microtransactions, then that's a good game. But that also leads to a bigger flaw that they have. That flaw is that they don't want their games on PC, their single player games. They're making it harder for themselves, yes, but I can understand why they would just want to be like that. Don't get me started. They are pushing GTA like it's their own exclusive. Bear in mind, it's not exclusive. They just have marketing rights. But I turned on my PlayStation today. The big GTA 6 logo pops up. When you go onto your app, your PlayStation app, it has the GTA colors on it. They've never pushed a single player game like that, but that is like something for another video. And I'm going off topic like every different ways because the gaming industry as a whole right now is a mess. But let's just talk about one more thing. If you want, make selected IPs single player. You can make a Killzone game again. You can have that third party or publish it to other platforms. That's fine. You can keep your Intergalactics, your Wolverines, keep all them exclusive. But going forward, you need to think about a strategy that is going to be, what shall I say, more affordable cost-wise. Think about where you're bringing these studios in from. Have the contractors be from places like Japan, for instance. In Japan, they can make games for way cheaper than they can in America. That's why the Europeans are doing so well, like ourselves. We're doing so much better right now when it comes to cost of games. Like, it's actually insane. They have the formula. They've always had it. And they're just looking for something that isn't there. They really, really should, in my opinion, stick to single player, then add a multiplayer aspect to the single player game. And if that then becomes a massive success, like for instance, The Last of Us Part 1 had factions and they were about to make a whole spin-off game, just entirely that, but then they realized they can't allocate all those resources to that game because it needs to be continued and continued and continued, and they can't make intergalactic if that's the only thing there. So you know what you should have done? You should have made part 2, added factions to that, and added like a multiplayer thing and have those servers up. It would have done well. It would have done well. But here we are. And let me know in the comments. Am I wrong for thinking of such things? Do you think that they can fix this? Do you think they should do the multiplayer push, or they should just go with what I'm thinking, which is single player with added a multiplayer at launch, may I add? This is something that they could do easily do. But yeah, it's been Davey Boy. This is the Gamer Chat podcast channel. Look forward to every Sunday where Joe and I will talk about gaming, and especially this weekend where it is going to be a big one. So without further ado, peace out.